And now for our feature presentation.
I would like to start by saying that this is the first Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
And his absence was definitely felt. There was a lot of like multiple scenes throughout the movie of like Chadwick Boseman memorial.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated. They even used the updated thank you Chadwick Boseman Marvel opening sequence, and they did it. There was no music. You notice that it was just completely silent during that.
Well, it was going.
Yeah, there was like wind in the background or something.
I mentioned to Pauline, and I feel like this is a good spot to jump in with this. That movie, you could feel there was a lot of real world grief in the acting, in the layout of the film, and I do, as we're just starting off jumping into it, I do want to touch on the fact that the studio was put in a tough position for this. I have a feeling Chadwick's Black Panther in universe might have died at some point because comics and like this wasn't.
Oh, in contrast, I see what you're saying. If Chadwick Boseman hadn't tragically passed, do you think that
it
his
would have happened
character
eventually, but maybe 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
But they had to jump the gun, and I have some things to say about that. I have some things to say about Black Panther writing, but I also do have some good things to say about this movie as well. I left this movie with some ups and downs and some things I need to search deeper to understand what my thoughts are. And we just watched this last night, so it's all still pretty new.
Yeah, no, I just because I think you and I both agree that this movie was not good or bad. It was just sort of somewhere in the middle. And before we start discussing why that is, I just wanted to comment on how, love it or hate it, there was definitely a lot of like respect and appreciation towards Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah,
and his life and the character that he helped popularize, and the whole like this movie played in like 18 countries that haven't had like a movie in theaters in a while because of all that and all that stuff, referring to the first Black Panther movie.
Speaking on his presence in the film, it was there.
Yeah.
It was there, and I was really concerned because they said we're not going to CGI him. There's not going to be a double in a suit.
Right. I was expecting some Princess Leia stuff. I was expecting some like we had some leftover footage. We're gonna shoehorn it in there, and sometimes that works. Say what you will about Rise of Skywalker. Her scenes made sense.
Yeah. I mean, that movie also had an uphill battle in that sense.
Right.
But
it's definitely like a hard decision of like a hard one way or another decision of like we are going to do this or we aren't, and this movie chose aren't.
And that's tough to pull off and still get the spirit of acknowledging the person who passed, but they pulled it off.
Yeah.
The worst example ever is the Pink Panther series. I don't know if you've ever seen through all those.
Even a frame, no.
There's what's his name? The main guy.
Steve Martin?
No, the original Pink
Panther.
Oh my God, isn't that ironic?
Oh, no,
I wasn't
you're
even
talking
trying
about
to
another
do that.
Panther. That's funny.
I wasn't trying to do that, but
no, who originally played Inspector Clouseau? I have no idea.
It's Peter. Look it up.
I'll look it up.
But I mean, they made like fucking 7 of those things, right? And he was only around for about 5 of them. But in the last one that he was in, he's only in about half of it because he literally dies halfway in real life. He died halfway through making that movie.
Oh, okay.
So the last scene that he's in, he's getting
Peter Sellers.
Peter Sellers is getting in a taxi to head to the plane place where planes go.
Airport.
Place where an airport.
The places where planes sleep at night.
And then that's it. And then in the next scene, he died in a plane crash. And then we don't really talk about or mention him again. And that's in the middle of a film.
Right.
I mean, granted, that's an even tougher position to be in, but like that's the worst way to handle it. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I think has handled it the best. I think there was a lot of Chadwick feeling. I think you could feel the real world grief really well.
Sorry, the internet's trying to tell me that Inspector Clouseau was created by Agatha Christie. It wasn't. She created Hercule Poirot, who he is a parody of. That's what the internet was incorrectly informing me of.
Gotcha.
I was like, what the fuck? Agatha Christie created the Pink... Alert! Agatha Christie created the Pink Panther. No, she didn't. It's fine.
Gotcha.
All is right.
But yeah, if there's one thing this movie did the best, it's that.
Yes, it was honor the legacy of not just the character but the actor.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. That first scene where she's running around the lab trying to save his life, and she asks what his vitals are, and the AI voiced by Trevor Noah doesn't answer her. It was just a very tense scene.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's happening right away.
It's funny. I know I just talked up how good of a job they did honoring Chadwick Boseman. However, honoring the end of his character was a different story for me. That felt really rushed. I wanted a better explanation for things, and they didn't give it to me. It really gave me Palpatine's back somehow vibes. And it's like...
Okay.
It's like...
I wouldn't go that far, because somehow Palpatine Returns is maybe the worst written line in any movie of all time.
But it's...
But
you know
I
what
can
I'm
see
talking
where...
about,
No,
right?
I can see where you're coming from.
And, like, they're just like, he had a illness, and I was like, you can just say Chadwick Boseman had cancer if that's the route you want to go. But,
Right.
like, can you give me a reason why his character is also dead?
Well, you brought up a good point, because, and maybe this isn't why they explained it, because they do say the word disease. Whatever disease took him, he had superhuman abilities.
That was my issue.
So they probably didn't want to over-explain, and here's why he died, even though he has superpowers, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not... I can respect that they were put in a tight spot.
Yeah.
But, like, use extra footage. It's still him. Use your story. At least I guarantee you at least one of those writers went to school to be a writer. Use some of those techniques to work around a plot line as to why he is not here.
I mean, you also have to think...
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
I was also, like, they said he died of some disease, right? And I was just sitting there in that theater, and I almost mentioned this to one of you two, but I was like, I bet you that's going to be a plot line in this movie. And it wasn't.
No. You also have to take into consideration that maybe the higher up, maybe the decision to not reveal that was a decision by Marvel and not by the writers. Because we never know what the studio is. Because you write the best goddamn movie ever. If Marvel comes and messes with your... That's what happened to the Black Panther movie, apparently. The Black Widow movie, apparently. How they wrote a kick-ass spy movie, and they were like, no, take this shit out.
Yeah,
put
water
in
it
this
down.
family-friendly... water it down the way we want you to. And they were like, okay, we have to do it. So you never know
That's a
what
good point
sort
too.
of direction is coming from up top.
You're right. I guess the issue still lies, but I guess you're right. I shouldn't direct it right at the writers, because
Right.
that might not be their fault. But
No, the writers for this movie were in a crazy tough position for multiple reasons. The biggest one, of course, being that I can only assume halfway through writing this movie they lost their main actor.
Yeah.
To uncontrollable forces and circumstances. And now, thank you, Chadwick Boseman. You were an exceptional actor and an exceptional human being. And every time I hear a story about you, it amazes me with how incredible you were. Now, let's talk about how this movie's not super great. Didn't really. And I want to stress that it wasn't a bad movie, but it also wasn't a good movie. Like, this movie is really, really directly in the middle between like being really good and being absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it didn't blow my mind. Here's the issue. I watched Black Panther 1. I somehow got a similar vibe watching this one. I'll delve into that once it makes sense. But Chadwick Boseman, hands down my favorite character of Black Panther 1.
Yes.
Yuri? His
Shuri.
sister? Shuri. She was my least favorite character of Black Panther 1.
Mine as well. Other than the characters that you're explicitly supposed to hate,
right.
like Claw and Killmonger,
Right.
Shuri was my least favorite character too.
We get to Black Panther 2. She's definitely gone up in my book.
Yes. I would agree with that.
I think they did a really good job. This film did a really good job expanding that character.
Yes. I wanted to write in here, if I could wedge my comment in here before you continue.
Yeah.
I think that obviously there's a point in this movie where she becomes the Black Panther, right? But basically up until then, I think this movie did a really good job of having like no discernible main character. I kind of really like that about the movie because it kind of felt like the nation
shifted between her mother and her, and is that what you're getting?
Yeah,
at?
no, it shifted between her mother, her two Dora Milaje characters, the Nakia's character. It just shifted a lot, and it really made it feel like the main character of the first two acts of this movie was an entire nation. And I thought that was pretty cool. That's kind of the only thing I was liking about the first act or two of this movie. Because you and I agree that when, and this is a spoiler, so we're getting into spoilers, when Namor attacks Wakanda the first time, the movie really picks up. Because up until then, it was kind of dragging. This movie is long.
Yeah.
This movie is too long. Sometimes the 2 hour, almost 3 hour movies like don't feel too long. Like, I'm pretty sure Infinity War is 2 hours, 40 minutes. I've watched the movie 7 times. This movie was long.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. However, leaving Black Panther 2, Black Panther is once again still my favorite character walking out of the film, which is a positive. A negative, though, is I'm leaving this movie with the same feeling and experience I did in the first one, which was I really, really wish this IP would acknowledge that it's a part of a bigger universe.
Yeah.
And I feel like, playing devil's advocate here, Black Panther 1, historical movie. Black Panther 2...
a real-world historical
historical movie. Black Panther 2...
The sequel to it.
Well, no. See,
if
it was just the sequel to it, I'd say get your head out of your ass. You're part of a bigger universe. Black Panther 2, kind of a mourning film. It's about mourning the loss of an actor, and it's about bringing into the spotlight a new one.
Yes.
Which you do need to kind of take the whole film to capture both of those. And I can respect that. Black Panther 3 better feel like a fucking Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Is my issue. Black Panther 2, I'm getting some real sequel Star Wars politics vibes where I'm like, wow, this is what they think a superhero movie should be.
I'm glad you brought that up again because you made that comparison walking out of the theater, and I really liked it. When you said that, I was like, yeah, I really agree with you. I just want to play devil's advocate. So Everett Ross was in this film. That's the guy played by Martin Freeman, the guy who played the Hobbit.
Yeah.
I would argue.
I had a whole thing to say about him, but
did you not like him?
Oh, I like him.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that.
Oh,
he did-
yes, we'll get to that.
Okay,
Sorry, yeah, I know what
sure.
you're gonna say. No, you're
I'm
exactly
gonna
right.
expand on it as well. But
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
you know where
No,
you're going.
don't bring that up yet. I
Okay.
want to bring that up, but
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
I just wanted to mention. So Martin Freeman was in this movie, or rather, Martin Freeman's character was in this movie. Was the point I was getting at? I would argue that because Everett Ross is a Black Panther character. He's from the Black Panther comics.
Sure.
You know, the fact that he was in Civil War, Black Panther was also in Civil War. You
Mhm.
know, so it's just like these two characters and Everett Ross has never shown up again. So, like, the fact that he was in the movie does not count in my books as like there's the
an
connection.
expanded universe character? No.
But, I don't remember her character's name.
Ironheart?
No.
Is that who you're gonna talk about? Oh, we just got a huge message.
Oh, hello. I will read that in a second. No, Julie Louis-Dreyfus's character. I believe her comic book name is Madam Hydra.
Oh,
She was in the film.
Yeah,
She was a big surprise. She was the one connection where I was like, that's a character that didn't have to be in this movie. She's going to be in she's of course going to be in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Or is she?
No, I think so.
Yeah,
I
she
think
is,
so.
right? She's the leader of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And she's been like the Phase 4 cameo.
Right.
You know?
Right.
She was in this. She was in Black Widow. She was in Hawkeye. No, she was not in Hawkeye. She was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And then she was also in something else.
Oh.
Why is the animation not playing?
It did originally.
I am so sorry about that.
Is
It
that the same person who just commented?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for the follow.
I apologize. The alert box was.
It was on screen. Maybe
Hold on.
it's,
I can do it again. Well, hey, there it is. There it fucking is.
Hold on.
Hey,
hold
there
on.
it is. Hold
Oh,
on.
and
Hold
it's
on.
gone.
Hang on. What if I just. There
Hey,
we go.
hey.
Thank you so much.
We should read this comment.
I'm gonna read it not out loud.
Okay. Yeah, this seems like it's behind the scenes stuff. So we're
Yeah.
just gonna...
Message me. What is it called on this app? Whispering. Send me a whisper with all that info, and we can discuss it there. Because I do appreciate it. Brawl tournaments.
Yeah.
GNF. Thank you also for the follow. You did not have
thank
to
you
do
for
that,
the
so
follow, and we'll definitely check that out after
everyone
this.
can see that. I don't have to approve
Yeah,
that.
I can see it.
Okay. The first
Yeah, it's
time
weird that
chat
it looks
box
like
always
it.
the first time chat box always confuses me. But thank you. We will get
Yeah.
to that off stream.
Yeah, thank
if
you.
you don't mind. But we do appreciate it. We appreciate the support. So yeah, I just we have a lot of complaints, and we have a lot of agreement over those complaints, and I just want to play devil's advocate at every corner I can.
Oh, sure.
Madam Hydra was in this movie, and I did not expect them to be
Well,
ex-husband and wife. That was interesting.
That was a nice little tie-in. I will counter that.
By saying she didn't do the one thing that she's been doing the whole time.
No, I will
okay.
counter that with another thing that I said last night, which was, sure, she is, you're right, she is a character from the expanded universe. The Black Panther IP so far does not like putting superheroes in their superhero movie.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. She is an expanded character. For Christ's sake, even you mentioned this. Could Bucky not be in this fucking movie?
That was the one. So, that was my biggest, not even a complaint, just like my biggest, that's weird when I saw it. Because, I obviously don't expect a full, Avengers lineup at his funeral.
No.
I don't need, old man Captain America. I don't need,
Who's yet to show up in anything yet.
I don't need Captain Marvel to be there. It doesn't matter. But the one character I was like, it's weird they're not here, is Bucky, is the Winter Soldier.
Sure thing.
Because him and Black Panther have, in between Civil War and Endgame, they have, a pretty extensive off-screen friendship, partnership, relationship, whatever you want to call it. Bucky lived there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They fucking helped him fully, completely get rid of the Russian brainwash stuff.
They gave him his arm.
They gave him an arm that Rocket now has, I think, but
Well, that honorable mention this week, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Was good.
we forgot to do an honorable mention section. We'll wrap
Yeah,
back
we'll-
around at the end
sure,
and do
sure.
that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious the path that arm has taken, but yeah, no, it felt really because I was like, this funeral scene is really touching, and I'm definitely tearing up, and this scene was always going to happen, and I really like this. What really got me emotionally, I really liked that everyone was dancing, having a great time at his funeral procession, and then he gets Star Trekked up into a spaceship.
That part I wasn't expecting.
They didn't really explain exactly what they were doing
No.
there.
I guess there's just a ship of dead kings.
I don't know what that was. Yeah. And then we fly them to the ancestral plane in a spaceship. I don't know. But I was like, "Where's Bucky?
Yeah.
But why?"
Well, that's my.
Do you think there's gonna be like? Do you think not having Bucky, a white superhero, in the movie was a choice, and then we're gonna get some sort of line of dialogue in the Thunderbolts where it's like, "And you guys made me miss my friend's funeral." That doesn't make it better to me. I'm just saying, like, do you think we're gonna get that? Or do you even think they're gonna mention it at all?
No, I think it'll go unmentioned. But like, that's part of my issue. It's not that. Okay, hold on. Him being a white superhero isn't my issue. But like, have fucking somebody acknowledge a part of a bigger universe. That's my issue. Is I feel like they want to make the Black Panther IP its own standout thing. Like, hey, you want to show up to Marvel, but you don't want to watch all of them. We'll watch Black Panther. I don't think these two films are strong enough thus far. I think I think you made a strong opening movie that was still, in my book, I was like, Black Panther's cool. He doesn't seem like Marvel's Avenger or anything like that yet. Black Panther 2 happens, and I'm like, yeah, there was a lot that they had to, a lot of baggage came with this film.
Right.
That they had to unload.
And they did it. They unloaded it pretty well, I think.
They did, which is why I'm trying not to judge that part super hard, but I'm also not going to sit here and say how awesome it was.
There was another moment where I was like, here's where another superhero could show up, because there's the part on the bridge where it's Okoye versus big hammerhead shark dude, and she's like really struggling to hold her own. And there was a few moments where obviously I knew this wasn't going to happen. There was a few moments where it seems like she's in really a lot of danger. And I just thought, just a fleeting thought in the back of my head, I was like, what if Captain America showed up? Because Captain America can fly. He's black. They're in Cambridge,
Well, speaking of Cambridge, you sure. My thought was, why not Spider-Man? Because he is in Cambridge at MIT currently, which are like exact pinpoint places that they went to. I really thought we might have gotten a Spider-Man cameo in this movie. I feel like that would have got leaked way beforehand if that was the case.
Well, that's kind of why I was sitting there like, no one's gonna show up, because nothing leaked.
Yeah.
When an actor who's not supposed to be on set is on set and they play a high profile character, there's usually a leak.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got away with Endgame.
Oh,
because none of that shit leaked.
Yeah,
literally none of it.
Ironclad contracts.
I guess, yeah.
Although Tom Holland, have you ever seen the video of him almost spoiling Infinity War?
Yeah.
That dude almost, he just straight
yeah.
up almost said, like, and everybody dies.
Oh, Mark Ruffalo literally did say that. He was in an interview with Don Cheadle, and he said, everyone dies in this one. And Don Cheadle was like, dude, come on. He literally spoiled it.
I have seen that one.
And
he was genuinely concerned he was going to get fired.
Who, Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo. Wasn't he like, this isn't good?
Yeah, that he fucked up. He genuinely fucked up. And I'm sure he got a talking to at the very least.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Can we pivot? Can we talk about Namor?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's I was really grossed out by the fact that the wings are part of him.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do
part of the shoe. I thought it was part of the shoe.
I thought they were going to do some like some in Thor Love and Thunder, say what you will about that movie, but they had a moment where it's like, no, all the mythologies are real. I thought they were going to do like even though I'm Aztec, I found these Greek I thought they were Hermes boots, quite literally.
Yeah.
But no, they're just, he's a mutant, as he said, and they are part of his skin. Hello.
Hello, Toga.
I can only assume you have the volume off because we are talking about a movie you have not seen.
Yeah, don't listen.
But thank you for the support. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, once he said that, I was like instantly grossed out. I was like, come on, man. And then she like rips one of them off later, and I was like, come on. And then you can see him struggling to fly with it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, wait. No, you fucking don't. No, you don't have the volume
How did
off.
you say yes? How did you answer you fucking liar? Yes, I have the volume off. Shit.
Anyways, and then Iron Man showed up.
Basically, right?
Just trying to.
Oh, you're trying to. Yeah, and then Ghost Rider came from space with Galactus. And then Galactus ate the gorilla dude, and then Martin Freeman was like, "I'm going on an adventure." Anyways,
that's essentially. He's here's my issue with this character. Okay, can I pivot?
Yeah,
back to
go
that,
for it.
and then we'll walk away from it.
Also, sorry, I
really-
just want to.
yeah.
I refer to him as the gorilla dude. M'Baku's a gorilla in the comics.
Oh, is he?
That's why
really?
his armor looks like a gorilla head.
Oh, well, gorilla's also his like tribe's.
Yeah, that's why he's always like barking. Essentially, he's acting like a gorilla without doing the very silly comic book like. And then I got turned into a gorilla in a lab experiment.
Right. Interesting. That's cool to know.
I just wanted to. I threw that. I entered that into the canon without explaining myself.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
just
no.
wanted to.
Well, I knew what you meant. I was like weird. Like I was like, yes, that character in his tribe clearly dig gorillas, but like I knew what you were talking about.
I'm now remembering that the first time you see him, he's wearing a gorilla helmet that he
Yeah.
takes off
Yeah.
in the first movie. Anyways, Martin Freeman.
Yeah, my issue with this character and what they're using him for in this movie is he's essentially just a punching bag and a soundbite. Like, he didn't need to be in this film.
You mean when you say punching bag? Do you mean punchline or do you mean punching
Yeah, they
bag?
just make fun of the silly white man. Is like his whole purpose in this film. And like I thought that was if there was one thing I thought we were gonna walk away from Black Panther 1, it was like that's kind of it's a little silly.
It is. There was one line that really got me, and it didn't really get me until I thought about it later. But when he's being carted away, and Okoye says, "A colonizer in chains. Now I've seen everything." I was like, I really thought about it, and I've come to the conclusion that here's where my complaint is: you and your nation chose to like separate yourself from the world. So maybe you don't know this. White people are arrested all the time.
Yeah,
I will agree. Not as common as black people. It's a big ongoing problem still to this day. But white people are, in fact, arrested all the time.
That's kind of my point. It's like, okay, we get it. Can we either drop this character
Right.
or, like, make him do something, but, like, does he really need to just hang around for this one reason?
Right. No, and he definitely did some stuff. And he an even worse end of this movie would be, and then he got sent to jail, and Wakanda did nothing about it, you know? But he was instrumental in, like, the things that happened in this movie, the, like, transferring of information, you know? So the fact that they were like, and we'll break you out of prison, was a little, like, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But as far as they called him a colonizer once, and I was like...
No, they called him it, like, 3 times.
No.
Oh, okay.
They called him it once,
sure.
and I was like, okay. And then they kept doing it, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's just what they call... His name's Everett Ross.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Like, you don't have to call him... I don't know what his title is. You don't have to call him senator or whatever, or agent.
He's agent, yeah.
But you can just call him Ross.
No, yeah, it's just it's racist. It's what it is at the end of the day. You had a white guy, you made him a pun, and then you gave him a racist nickname. And I thought if there was one thing we were gonna walk away from Black Panther 1 with was it's like, okay, you did it, you said it, like, so now we're just keeping the character just so we can keep like
Right.
picking him up, punching him down, picking it like
Yeah. I will say, Martin Freeman, I wish I could say this about his Sherlock co-star, but Martin Freeman has perfected his American accent. It really came together in this movie where I was like, he is from America. Oh wait, no, he's not.
Yeah, yeah.
He played Dr. Watson opposite Benedict Cumberbatch.
I know.
Okay.
I fucking know.
Benedict Cumberbatch doesn't do a good job at that.
I thought you were gonna tell me he's Doctor Strange.
Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
No, he just he sucks. He's fine as Doctor Strange. Love him. I don't know why he's American. Doesn't matter. Anyways, not the movie we saw. Yeah,
he could have been in it.
He could. That would have been
cool?
That would have been a little silly because the last time we saw him, he was doing some pretty silly stuff in his movie with the third eye shit and the
some silly stuff. Yeah.
His movie was silly, but I think it was supposed to be. It's a whole nother discussion. I really like the new Doctor Strange movie, and it took a couple watches, and I have things to say about it. But that's not what we watched this time.
I really wasn't into it, and then I was into it. I like the Mayan. Were they Mayan or Aztec? I can't remember. They were Aztec?
Yes.
I really liked the Aztec tribe. I like how they were essentially fucking mermaids.
Yeah. Did you notice it wasn't very in your face, but did you notice that they were only blue when they were out of the water?
Yes. And that confused the shit out of me, and I eventually caught on. I was like,
I don't know if you saw me, but when he was giving her a visual tour of the underwater city, I was kind of like doing one of these. I was like,
no, I was in the same
because I was like, they're not. That's the same chick, but she's not blue.
Yeah.
But then I figured out what was happening.
The wings grossed me out, and I also agree with you. Well, here's my issue, right? Is he? Maybe they answered this, and I'm forgetting. But like, is he part of a pantheon, or is he just a mutant?
So they
is he
see
like
that's,
Thor, or is he just a human with mutant abilities?
Is he an X-Men or is he a god?
Yeah,
that's they were very because
they refer to him as a god,
right? That's the thing. They were very specific not to tell us that.
Yeah,
because he was very strong the way Thor is, right? He referred to himself as a mutant. He technically never said the word X-Men, obviously, but he confirmed that he has the mutant gene. So that to me tells me he's a human with superpowers. But the movie went a long way to tell us that no, that's Kukul Khan.
Right.
I always struggle with this one.
Khan?
It's Cuckoo Land, but that's not how you pronounce it. It's like Kukul Khan or something.
Yeah.
Kukulkan. I'm not gonna. I'm
Macaulay Culkin.
I'm just gonna keep saying it wrong. But I knew
the last one was the wrongest.
I didn't say Macaulay Culkin.
No. But the one before you were getting closer and closer. I knew what the next one was gonna be.
Kukulkan is I knew about this guy, this character, because they're in Smite, and in Smite it's literally a serpent with feathers that flies through the air.
Okay.
You know, so Kukul Khan is a real deity from a real deity. He's from real world mythology.
Yeah.
The fact that they call him that doesn't, to me, tell me that he is Kukul Khan
necessarily is sure
reincarnated, but maybe he is. Maybe this character really is a hat on a hat on a hat. He's the king of not Atlantis, and he's Kukul Khan reborn, but he's also an X-Men. You know,
you keep referring to. I thought, X-Men are like the only thing I don't know enough about yet.
Yeah.
To be an X-Men, don't you have to go to the school?
No.
You're just considered an X-Men if you're a mutant?
No, well, okay, sorry. That's an interesting question.
Because I think he's
asked.
Just a mutant.
Well,
I think you have to
course.
be like in the gang to be an X-Men, right? Like you got to be one of them to be an X-Men.
Yes,
but you can just be a mutant.
No, there's that. That's what they always say, right? There's like half the population is mutants, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the whole thing is. It's just a gene that you're either born with or you're not born with it. It's very similar to quirks in My Hero Academia. Yeah. Some people don't have quirks, and the ones that do are superheroes. Except in X-Men, it's there's a lot of like racism allegories of like, you dirty mutants, we don't want you in here. There's a mutant free bar, all that shit. No, you're right. There's a difference between mutant and X-Men, but the specific question you asked is interesting. I don't think you literally have to, like, you don't have to graduate to be an X-Men. I think you can just show up and be like, I'm a full-grown adult. I know my powers. Let me join. And they're like, yes, of course. So
Okay.
you're totally right. Mutant is not equivalent to X-Men. There's the X-Men, and then there's a bunch of other mutants. I was just using X-Men as a catch-all. But
Yeah.
no, you do not have to like attend Charles Xavier's school for the gifted in order to make it onto the team. Every time.
I gotcha. But
Usually
you do have to be on the team to be an X.
Right. Usually that's your goal. I'm not going to go to that school unless I'm going to train to be an X-Men.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they have a typical like Gambit. Yes, Gambit is an X-Man. I like how you said that. Gambit is an X-Men. Oh, no, that's why you brought up Gambit. Gambit didn't go to the school, but he's still on the team.
Oh, okay.
He's a main player on the team. I think that's why you brought up Gambit. Thank you. That's a good example. And Rogue, too. I think his girlfriend Rogue also didn't go to the school. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But this character was weird, and his introduction was very long-winded. And I didn't not like him. I appreciate that he didn't, spoiler alert, that he didn't die at the end of the movie. Because I feel like Marvel movies in the past, including the last Black Panther movie, they have one-off
villains,
and the villains are one-off because they died.
And you can tell they regretted Warmonger.
Killmonger.
Because he was in this one.
That Killmonger scene was set up perfectly.
Yeah.
Because you know, as an audience member,
that was one of my favorite scenes.
You know she's gonna be Black Panther, and you also know, because you saw the first one, that when you become Black Panther, you go to the ancestral plane and you talk to someone. Then her mom dies, and I was like, oh,
it's gonna be the mom.
It's gonna be the mom. Of course, it's not gonna be. That's what, because I was like, if they're gonna use Chadwick footage and that's where it's gonna be. And then I was like, oh, it's going to be the mom. That makes total sense. And then it wasn't. And then it was like another character who you absolutely didn't expect. Played by, if I will, my personal favorite actor.
I liked the setup, too. He wasn't just there for shock value. He gave the character more purpose.
Yes,
he was like, listen, there's been technically 3, but we're only going to talk about 2. There's been 2 kings in the last 10 years.
Right.
One's super this side, one's super this side. Who are you? Who are you going to be?
Right.
And I think
I like
married them pretty well.
I do too, and I like that Killmonger, he didn't say like this one, now form your own path. He asked,
said, who are you going to be?
He asked a very specific question. He said, who are you going to be?
Yeah.
Which has like subtle hints of like,
there's
pick
2.
me, you pick me. There's a right answer, and it's me, right? But I like how they did that. That whole scene, I really liked that part. I like that part a lot. And I liked how it shaped her character for the next 20 minutes of the movie, for the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Like I said, I walked away from this movie being like...
liking Shuri more.
Liking her more, but also being like, that movie was okay. But in that same vein, I was like, I bet she's going to kick ass in the next Avengers or whatever the fuck.
Well, yeah, that's, you and I were talking about this, and if I could make it all about you for a sec, I feel like
you gotta make this lightning.
Okay.
Light.
I'll definitely not remember to do that. But if I do, I'll put it right here. You had a long, and I was there for this entire thing, but you had a long internal struggle of, I don't like Black Panther. Why don't I like Black Panther? Here's the reasons I think. Here's the reasons it probably isn't. And then we watched this one, and you also don't like this one, and you are starting to think that it's probably the writing of the movie.
Well, yeah, can I expand on that?
Yes, of course.
So Black Panther 1 comes out, and I'm like, and then Shang-Chi comes out. See, that's where it, like, another peak in my thought process.
Because it should be a similar situation where Shang-Chi is just a dude with no powers. The movie's all about him.
Yeah.
He's the only superhero in the thing other than the end credit scene, which is a whole other can of worms.
Right.
So it should be a similar feeling situation leaving that movie.
And here's where I'm coming out of Black Panther 2. Black Panther 1 comes out, and I'm like, man, this movie just didn't do it for me. It was okay. I'm not saying it was bad. It was okay.
Right.
Black Panther 2 comes out, and I'm walking out of the theater with the same vibe. And I know it happened last night, but I'm starting to sew together better why I'm feeling this way.
Ooh, okay.
A huge issue is the lack of overall world-building representation for the rest of the universe. I don't care for it, and I feel like if we looked at a chart of movies and like how much universe building there is in each one, I bet it would coincide pretty well with how much I like the film.
Well, I also think that, to make a different point real quick,
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you did have a chart like that, there'd be a significant dip when it came to Phase 4. I think Phase 4 has been very light on that shit.
Oh, yeah, and if you notice, for those eagle-eyed viewers of Cinematic Relief, we haven't had a shit ton of nice things to say about Phase 4.
Not in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
We didn't even do a Thor Love and Thunder podcast.
We didn't, did we?
No.
That's insane.
We just kind of skipped it because we were like, whatever about that movie.
Yeah. But that's kind of my point. I do love the concept they brought up in Thor Love and Thunder, which was gods exist.
All of
it
them.
made Moon
It's
Knight
not
make
just,
a bit more sense. It made I liked that.
True. I do respect Thor Love and Thunder for how it recontextualized Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree that fucking show needed something. So and that's another character that I think when they show up the next time, they're going to be
It's
awesome.
going to be cool. It's going to be cool. And so that's my thing, right? Is that's part of where I'm coming at with Black Panther is I like the character. I'm liking the new Black Panther's character more. My issues with the Black Panther films, the IP so far, the series thus far, is its lack of universal representation in the MCU. And by representation, I mean other heroes, other IPs.
Of the MCU itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Its other issue is it and this is definitely it's struck more this time around, and I can pinpoint it better now, is way too much political bullshit.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
Take a lesson from the Star Wars prequels.
Specifically Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. I
As
wasn't
much
going
as
to say. I know you love that movie,
As
so
much as I love
wasn't
that
gonna
movie, when people complain about the overabundance of politics in the prequels, they do mean Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And I know what they mean. I know where they're coming from.
It's just too much. And Black Panther 2 is definitely a bigger offender than Black Panther 1 of that.
Oh, yeah.
But both of them had it in there. And
no, I think Black Panther 1 had a perfect balance of politics versus action, if you ask me.
Sure.
I think it had a tasteful amount of like this is important, this is happening. Ooh, here's a fight scene though.
But to go off of my point with Black Panther and Wakanda and Wakanda politics is I don't care for the Wakandan condescension. It doesn't make for an appealing character to me. And I will say, really drives down my enjoyment. Like they go to MIT and shit, and they're like, "Oh, it's the equivalent of a grade school." And I was like, "That's fucking great. I know all about the politics."
Or
of your
when
country
or you mean are you also talking about that shit when they're like, iPhone so primitive?
Yeah, it's just I don't care for the condescension.
But and I will
Tony
say,
Stark is condescending, but it's like quirky and cute and fun. They do it, and it's
because
like,
he's sort of an asshole, right?
You
know, it's a character thing rather than like a feature, not a bug. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think of another character who does it, and I don't care for it. And I'm gonna try and come back around to that to make a comparison. But when they I'm just sitting there like, I don't know, it doesn't strike me as a cool character quality.
Right.
It doesn't.
And I will say,
it doesn't make me want to root for them.
I also I agree with you on this because there was that scene where Queen Ramonda goes to the Geneva Convention and they're like pissed at her that she hasn't shared vibranium or whatever, and then she starts doing that thing you're talking about. She starts like condescending them, and then I was kind of like, okay, but that guy did have a good point. But then she's totally right.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's like,
that,
and
yeah.
it's like, no. You guys fucked up. Here, I'll show you.
No, that scene was fine. I had no issues with that scene.
Well, I was about to have an issue with that
Yeah.
scene, then I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
she brought it around.
Yeah.
She's totally right, and she literally brought the accused, like before the she was like, and on top of that, here's all the receipts.
Right. No, that shit can be cool, but sometimes it just comes off as I don't know. I don't want a character who thinks
sometimes
that they're like, I don't know.
Sometimes
I
I
don't know
think
how
it's
to word it.
Sometimes I think it's supposed to be taken as like fish out of water comedy, like the
Right,
whole thing
it
with the
doesn't come
like the
off
whole
that way though.
No, not always. Rarely does it. I'd say like the thing with the head makeup. I think I was fine with that, but there was quite a lot of moments like the iPhone moment where I was just like, okay, I get it. You're a futuristic, but like still somehow indigenous civilization that is like, I get it. I got that part.
Yeah.
I got that part right after Civil War.
You'd think, yeah. I guess it just doesn't. It almost feels, in some way, passive aggressive in the writing. Not so much the characters. I don't even think it's the takes. It's the writing, and I don't understand why. You'd think a society that is both futuristic and indigenous, the way you put it, would have a bit of appreciation for cultures and where they're coming from. That's the thing. It's a lack of appreciation for other cultures, and it kind of like it. Every time it happens, I just kind of eye roll. Like,
because in the first Black Panther movie, Shuri is more often than not in that regard the voice of reason, where she's like, this is how other people have been doing it, but the science is not, the perfect example is when Black Panther is like, the suit's fine, and she's like, just because it's fine doesn't mean it can't be upgraded, And I thought that, 7-8 years later, after the Black Panther movie, taking into consideration the Thanos snap, like 7 or 8 years later, I thought there'd be more of that. Like, you'd start to see more main characters take on, like, do more research about the outside world, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And be, like, more especially because they go to the Geneva Convention. Like, they need to be up on, or you'd think that they would, not that they need to be, sorry. You'd think that they want to be up on, like, the fact that she was like, oh, look at the iPhone, it's so primitive. I was like, but you should know, like,
Yeah.
That, I don't know.
Can I speak on that too?
Yeah.
We're talking about every single comment that we've made so far is all about one character.
Shuri?
No.
Oh. Okoye.
Is that her name?
The leader who was dismantled.
Yeah.
That's Okoye.
And, like, maybe it's like, maybe I have an issue with that character, but it's been brought up. I'm going to rewatch Black Panther and, like, whenever I have this feeling of, like, wow, that was, like, kind of low-key racist and shitty, who said it?
Right.
And I want to see if it's maybe just an issue with that character that I'm having, but
maybe
it's so small, like, passive-aggressive comments like that I don't notice is coming from one person because I haven't had enough footage to like, go back and be like, you know what? This keeps happening, and oh, shit. It's always the same person, and now maybe I do.
If I can, going off that real quick, talk about, because we were just talking about Okoye, I really liked the Dora Milaje in this movie. They started to feel like an actual, they started to feel like an actual army, but they also started to feel like actual characters. Like, every time the Dora Milaje shows up, I'm always like, wow, they're really cool. And then I take a step back and I'm like, why do I think that? And this movie really cemented, like, they're cool. I like their individual personalities of the 3 or 4 that we meet in this movie. I don't know. The Dora Milaje to me have always been really cool, and I think part of that is, like, the way they're dressed. They just look super cool.
Yeah, sure.
And they're all clearly very skilled combatants, and also their weapons are vibranium, so you can't really, there's no real. Well, her thing's made out of they have vibranium.
Right.
But I took until this movie for me to be like, okay, no, they are awesome, and I do like them.
No, overall, I mean, comments just made aside, I like them.
Yeah,
they're cool, and I feel like
Well, it was Black Panther. It was Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or whatever that show is called, where I was just like, they're so cool. Why do I think that? Is it just the way they're dressed? Because sometimes I like a character just based on the way they're dressed. You know, I will admit that about myself. Sometimes I'm like, that's my favorite character. She's pink. You know, so, but I appreciated that movie for doing that.
Yeah, no, it definitely brought them into... Well, here's the deal, right? I think this movie kind of had to bring them into a new light, kind of bring them to the surface, because it didn't have a hero in it till the third arc.
Yeah.
So who was the hero? Who was going to help save the day up until the last few minutes? It has to be them.
Right.
And their story progressed, too, which I really love.
Right, yes, in a number of different ways, I
Yeah.
feel like. Or you take it the other direction, where instead of Shuri sort of being the main character and then coming around the end of the movie being incredibly the main character, instead of putting all your eggs in the Shuri basket, you put all your eggs in the M'Baku basket. And I feel like that's a separate decision that I think that movie 3, M'Baku's really going to shine. I think that's going to be like his movie.
That'd
Maybe
be cool.
he won't be the main character, but I think he's going to take the deuteragonist role that Okoye has of just like, I'm going to be in every fight scene.
Yeah.
One of them's going to be all me and this one other dude, you know?
He is officially my favorite secondary character in the Black Panther IP.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool. I like the... He had so much character development in the first Black Panther movie that made me like instantly love that character. And I think that was intentional. And that's one of the...
he survived so long. I mean, because he's a character who, I mean, he's made it through, what, 3 films now? 4 films?
4 if you count Endgame. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's such a killable character. He's the
I
big...
know what you mean,
the
yeah.
big, tough guy. He doesn't have a ton of backstory in the MCU.
Right,
I mean, comics
right.
excluded. But, like, he's
like the friend, like confidant of the big main character. He's very killable.
He's not even. He's like the frenemy of the main
right,
character. In film 1. It took one writer, one director, a split-second decision to be like, you know what, touching scene, we're going to kill him.
Right, oh yeah.
Like 2 movies ago.
Right,
it could have
right.
happened easily. Now he is cemented. This film easily cemented him.
That's what I think. I'm excited then. Loved M'Baku in the first movie.
Oh shit, Mason, are you listening to this and
Mason.
not seeing the second movie?
Mason.
Buddy, we appreciate you watching. You don't have to watch if you haven't seen the movie.
But I already spoiled how Ghost Rider sucks Thanos' dick in this movie.
It got funnier.
I can't pedal that back now. Who am I gonna talk to about the fucking Will Smith's Deadshot from the Suicide Squad movie cameo?
Some people, all joking aside, some people don't care about spoilers. Maybe Mason is one of those people, but
Those people are freaks.
Jesus, my wife's one of those people.
I know. I know that. And it freaks me out every time. No. What was I gonna?
We were talking about M'Baku, how he's probably gonna be a bigger
I was just gonna
role.
mention that spoilers. I know it's a few years old, but the biggest thing to spoil about this movie, spoilers for Endgame. First time I was watching Endgame, I really thought the battle at the end was missing was like frequent character deaths. Like I had a list. I was like M'Baku
in Endgame or
in Endgame. I was like M'Baku because I was like there's a lot of characters. I was like M'Baku, maybe Mantis, maybe Wasp, like all these characters I could see just totally beefing it in this fight.
Okay.
And then none of them did, and I was like, interesting choice. And then they kill off Iron Man. You're like, oh, it's because they wanted
saved it
that.
up.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah. That's why
I only care about spoilers for horror movies.
Okay,
What?
that's an interesting
Interesting take.
That's a very interesting take. Okay. Let's pivot. Let's quickly talk about a few honorable mentions.
Okay.
I think just to wrap everything we were talking about Black Panther.
Excited for her next appearance.
Excited for Black Panther 3 to be better than the first 2. This movie far too long for my liking.
Sure.
Um,
It just there was things it could have been narrowed down.
it could have, yes.
Ironheart. We never even.
We
talked
didn't even
about
talk about
Ironheart.
Ironheart. She was really cool. She's
Yeah.
getting her own TV show, so we'll
Oh,
definitely.
by the way, she doesn't count as adding to the MCU. This is her first
no,
appearance.
yeah, of course. No, I didn't even bring her up in
Okay.
in that discussion because same here. She's
Man, I know we're
until
finishing.
her-
Now I'm thinking of all the things I wanted to talk about. The suit.
the suit was cool, but it's gonna.
No. The Predator suit.
Oh, that
I forget what it
fucking-
was.
that
Midnight
shit sucked.
Blue or
The
whatever.
Midnight Angels.
Is that a
No,
comic book
that's
thing?
nothing.
No, that's nothing. Oh, it sucked then.
That's
I was
nothing I've
like,
heard
I
of.
was like, I get that they're probably trying to honor
I
this
mean, I could
specific
be wrong.
characters.
I could be wrong, you know.
Maybe.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Midnight
It
Angels
just
is
looked
nothing.
like a blue predator.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it.
No, we didn't talk about Riri Williams that much because her character is gonna get her time to shine in her
Yeah.
TV show because
Yeah.
they're making an Ironheart TV show that was weirdly like announced to be in production before Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I don't know. Marvel's got some weird shit
They're
going
still
on that
figuring
end.
it out from Wanda Vision, I think.
Okay, real quickly.
Yeah, honorable mention.
Yeah. Rapid fire honorable mentions. Have you ever seen Willow, the movie, the old Willow movie?
Seen it in parts. I got to go back and watch it. Did you watch the new movie, or is it
It's
a series?
It's a TV show. I
Okay.
saw the movie as a kid, so I
Mhm.
rewatched it in order to watch this TV show. I don't know what reviews are saying about this TV show. It's only 3 episodes in. I'm really enjoying it
Okay.
for a number of different reasons. That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, Val Kilmer is absent, but you can really feel his presence.
That's
kind
cool.
of similar,
To Pink Panther.
kind of similar
No. just kidding.
to Black Panther, except
Pink
Val-
Panther did a bad job.
Val Kilmer is not. He's still with us, you know.
Right.
So that's cool. I'll talk about that more when it finishes. I did watch Wednesday. I'm not going to talk about it too much because
Mhm.
you haven't seen it, and once you do, we're going to gauge whether we want to do an actual episode on it or not. But once again, just like so good, really, really good. If you've ever seen a single frame of anything's Addams Family, and you're like, "What's this Wednesday show about?" Just watch it. And then let's briefly talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I did think it was kind of just like it felt like one segment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think
yeah,
that was.
I
I
do know
think
what you mean.
I think that was because it was so short. It branded itself as a Marvel
Mhm.
special presentation. I'm glad it did that, but it really like. Here's the thing: the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was good, and I enjoyed it. It was definitely like. Holiday specials, I feel like more often than not are meant to be like repeat watches. Like, put me in the holiday spirit. I'll watch it every year. I didn't get that with this.
No, same.
But I still liked it. I liked, and to talk more about one of the issues we have with Black Panther, there was a lot of world building.
Oh yeah.
They bought nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmo is just here now, and she, I guess we should call him she now. She just talks. She's just like the character that she always was supposed to be. Mantis, the big reveal.
Yep.
Mantis is Star-Lord's sister, and
Very cool.
they didn't it was a secret, and then to us, and then it wasn't, but it was still a secret to Peter, and then it wasn't a secret to Peter. Like that all happened in this one special. What did you think about the song that Kevin Bacon sang and its inclusion in the holiday special? I thought it was really out of place.
I felt the same way. I thought we were going to talk about the song at the beginning. I thought that was cute.
Song at the beginning.
The band's like, "Hey, we're learning about Earth Christmas."
Oh, that was fine. I had
Yeah.
no issue with that.
But yeah,
You're good. It's good.
Yeah, I saw Kevin Bacon. I was like, oh no, I think this was a Kevin Bacon request.
Yeah,
I think this was something he wanted to do.
It definitely felt like one of those things where Kevin Bacon was like, "Hey, I've been singing lately too," and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, and he's like, "What if I just?" Oh God.
That's kind of that's where I was getting at. That's kind of the vibe I got. You know what it felt like to me? It felt like, this is kind of funny to say like this, because I've been the high fantasy book that Pauline and I are working on. I equate it to a high fantasy version of the Guardians as far as the party and how they interact.
That you're gonna have some people step on your toes with that D&D movie. It seems like.
Oh, what? Well, no. I mean, they're going
fully.
Our movies
Your book.
I mean, our book. I'm right. Sorry.
I haven't got the movie deal yet.
Not yet. Our book is it's got funny aspects to it, but it's not a comedy.
Right.
Where that D&D movie's clearly gonna be a comedy with like it would be comedy action, I would guess.
Maybe. I trailers are so misleading nowadays.
Regardless, we're not going as hard as the D&D movie. Thought never even entered my mind because they're going a different
Then
direction.
I'm glad I brought it up because that puts into perspective what you're talking about. How you because you said the characters in our book are like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was instantly like the D&D movie. So I'm glad that you made the distinction.
It's I just mean in the way they interact with each other. But bringing it back to the special, I liked how it felt to me like a D&D one-off. It felt like the DM showed up, being James Gunn,
Yeah.
and was like, we're doing a Christmas thing, but we're going to split the party. But there's no real danger. Nothing's, really going to happen.
Right.
There's even enemies. They're police officers. Your job is to just not kill them.
Yeah.
They're not going to harm you in any way. It just felt so safe, but also like a campaign.
I think I know what you mean. I think I've played one, and I've seen on the internet my fair share of holiday one-offs.
Yeah.
And I definitely get what you mean, where it's like, there's no danger. Don't worry, there's no danger. We are playing D&D though.
Yeah.
I like that comparison.
In I don't know, Mantis and Drax and trying to get Kevin Bacon, I can almost feel the roles, and it's like, well, how are you gonna convince him to come with you guys?
Well,
how are you even gonna convince him to let you in the house? Oh, you're just gonna break in. Okay, well now we're going this
right.
route.
Yeah. Oh
now
no,
we're
exactly.
going this way.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. James Gunn asked, "How are you going to do this?" And they were like,
Yeah.
"I guess we'll just break in." And James Gunn was like, "Okay." It's
Right.
It's really interesting you bring this up once again organically, because Mason and I have talked, both of us separately on and off the air, but also with each other, talked about how the Guardians of the Galaxy is just a D&D campaign, a D&D group. Mason, who is in chat right now, frequently says that his favorite D&D movie is the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Cool.
And I have a whole video essay about how the Guardians of the Galaxy video game is so clearly D&D inspired. And I don't know if that's rollover. I've never read a Guardians of the Galaxy comic, but I can only imagine that the D&D comparisons begin and end with the post-cinematic universe stuff.
Right.
And that's 100% James Gunn's doing. But it's just so interesting to me that you were like, this holiday special that's completely detached from everything, and this conversation that's detached from everything also reminded me of D&D.
Well, because it did, and I was...
No, and now that you're saying that, I can definitely see what you mean.
It was just a weird one-off is the vibe that
Yeah.
I got from the whole movie. They're in the middle of some important shit. It really feels like the DM, being James Gunn, is like, okay, I'm working real hard on our next session, but it's gonna take a little longer.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
while we're waiting,
Yeah.
why don't we have some fun? Let's just do a one-off. It's Christmas time.
Because
let's do something fun.
Because you also have the the question that the Christmas special did not answer of how important is Thor in all this? As far as we're concerned, the timeline is Endgame, Thor: Love and Thunder, then the Christmas special, then GOTG 3. But I think the Christmas special goes as far as to say to further your point about it being a D&D one-off. I think this Christmas special goes to a point to say doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have Christmas with the Guardians.
Yeah,
it's fine. And then next time we meet up, it'll be business as usual. It'll be the next arc. You know. So I wanted to do something real quick. We are running a bit long, but we sort of knew that would happen. Mason, thank you for retweeting my tweet. I wanted to. Phase 4 is over. As far as Black Panther: Wakanda Forever goes, Phase 4 is now over. So I wanted to have a brief discussion about our thoughts on Phase 4, and I kind of wanted to ask what is your highest point and what is your lowest point as far as everything that happened in Phase 4? All the TV shows were in Phase 4. The first movie in Phase 4 was Black Widow.
Wow.
And the latest one was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and I guess include the Guardians Christmas special. And I'm not quite sure, but once again, it doesn't necessarily matter. But yeah, and I will start because I posed the question, and I think that the highest point was Shang-Chi.
Okay.
And I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, and I feel like there's two right answers as far as what the highest point was, but. There's no denying how much I loved Shang-Chi. It's literally my third favorite movie of all time. I've seen it so many times. And I'd say that my lowest point had to be Miss Marvel. Because it was bad. It was not good representation of the character. Like, for considering it was MCU, it was like a surprisingly terrible representation of the character. It was a boring TV show. It didn't make me excited for the next Captain Marvel movie the way I was hoping to. It confused the X-Men involvement in the MCU even further. And it was just, from week to week, just a genuinely bad time.
Okay. All right. I'll start with my low point, because my low point was also Miss Marvel.
Oh, interesting.
For all the same reasons.
Interesting.
That's why I didn't say anything, because I was just like, oh, shit. But yeah, if there was one other piece of Marvel content that I could say gives me the same vibes as the things that I don't like about Black Panther, it's Miss Marvel. It's just like, focus more on the hero aspect. It doesn't have to be entirely about the heroes,
right?
But like, I need more of that in this
hero
universe.
You and I talked about that on our Miss Marvel podcast, where it's like there was a not balanced mix of Marvel superhero stuff and Kamala's culture.
Yeah, and I'm not even just because Wakanda. I mean, it's clearly influenced by African culture, but it's a made up culture. I mean, but. I'm not even just talking about culture, but I mean, there's just some scenes in either of these movies that I'm just sitting there like, this is not forwarding the plot point for the character that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the politicalness in Black Panther 2, politics being, like Star Wars style politics. That's, I'm not talking about like.
No, I keep mentioning.
Say?
I keep mentioning she literally goes to the Geneva Convention. You're not talking about real world politics. You're talking about the politics between Ramonda and Namor.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make a statement of like, man, I hate all this black culture in my Black Panther movie. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean,
that's that's why you keep making the Star Wars comparison. You're talking about like fantasy fiction,
just fantasy
politics.
bullshit politics that I'm just sitting there like, this isn't forwarding the plot line of my character. Or like Kamala, I did not pay much attention after a while in that show because there was just so much of like, it just wasn't forwarding this character at all. There's just or like going back in time, which could have been a whole episode in itself, was like the last 4 episodes or some shit. Like the whole time I'm just sitting there like, the show's called Miss Marvel, and this is not forwarding the plot line of Miss Marvel. Is all I'm talking about.
To prove your point further about how Miss Marvel was kind of boring and dragged and it wasn't really superhero-y. That show was 6 episodes, and going back in time was exactly 1 episode.
Was it?
Yes, yeah. The 4th episode, or the 5th episode was the go back in time episode. And
I thought they spanned it out.
No, in fact, it was not the whole episode. It was about 40 of the 50 minutes.
It felt like
I know
it was forever.
No, it did, because it was, and it did.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, that was my low point. I only wanted to, I want to get to his in a second.
But I want you to do your,
my highest point was Spider-Man.
Yes.
So for good. All the reasons you'd think.
Yeah. I'd say let's not go out of our way to spoil it, but fucking Marvel doesn't care. I wanted to watch that movie with my mom, and she hadn't seen it yet. I had to like start it in a different room and fast forward through. There was the special edition of that movie starts with a Zoom call between all 3 of them about
Wait, which movie?
Spider-Man.
Oh no!
It starts with a full minute discussion between Holland, Maguire, and Garfield.
That's
just
a
being,
huge spoiler.
Just being like, thanks for downloading the special edition, man. This is also I had to purchase that movie for $20. It was not to rent anywhere
Jesus.
because I didn't expect it to be on any streaming services because of all that bullshit. But I expected it to be like $3 to rent for the weekend or whatever. But no, I own that movie now. Mason, who's also a big part of this channel, says the highest point for me was definitely Doctor Strange, and I could not finish Ms. Marvel or Moon Knight, but I at least got through 4 episodes of Moon Knight. Ms. Marvel was a struggle after 2. I feel that.
Yeah.
I'd say you stopped watching Moon Knight when right before it got cuckoo bananas. I'd say of the 2 of them, don't finish either of them if you don't want to, but I'd say of the 2 of them, Moon Knight is more worth finishing than Miss Marvel, because Moon Knight, at the very least, I think the highest point of Moon Knight is episode 6, the finale. I think it was a pretty good episode of a pretty terrible TV show. But the reason I didn't give Moon Knight as my lowest is because Miss Marvel was just so much worse. It was just consistently bad for the whole thing.
And I will say this, just to put a happy note at the end of all this. All these new characters, including the new Black Panther, I think they're all going to go on to be really cool.
Yes.
I think I'm going to really like all these characters. I want them to shine. I want them to have their moment. I want to come back to Miss Marvel Season 2 and be like, yes, we're in it. I want to come back to Moon Knight Season 2 and be like, yes, we're in it. Or their own movie, whatever it is. I'm excited for Black Panther to show up in the next thing. And then Black Panther 3, I really hope kicks ass. I hope I can get a solid conclusion for myself on that.
I don't know what it is, but I'm with you. I think that Black Panther was It was not good or bad. Best part of it was Chadwick Boseman. I think that's no surprise that we think that. Black Panther 2 was similarly It was not very good. It was not very bad. But I feel like Black Panther 3 is going to be really good.
It has the potential. Unless something else devastating happens to the cast in that.
Holy shit, knock on wood, but yeah. We know.
But if there's no reason for celebration or mourning in the upcoming Black Panther 3 film, you don't have to, stick to a book. I'm not asking for a cookie-cutter superhero movie.
Right.
But make a superhero movie. That's kind of all I'm asking for.
Yeah. I'm really excited to go off of what you were saying before you just started.
My
Daphne,
wife's allergic. If anybody's wondering why I'm not being affectionate to the cat.
You can pet her and then wash your hands. That should be fine.
I don't want her rubbing on my clothes and stuff.
No, and she probably won't. She usually... Well, that is your clothes right there. The clothes that are not on you, but yeah. Anyways, Daphne, go to your bed. Daphne. No, Daphne.
Why?
Daphne. Hold on, sorry. Daphne, stop that.
Can I?
At your own risk. If you want to, she might.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. Go to your bed, sweetie. You have your own bed. We found out today she's 16 years old.
How did you find that out?
Our vet is closing permanently.
How did your vet know?
They just had it.
Oh.
They just knew. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Just hand it over to me.
Yeah,
I got it. Actually, yeah, good point. Do that. I'm very excited for the battle at the end of Endgame 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Shuri, Black Panther, Shang-Chi with all the rings, Moon Knight, a couple Eternals. I'm just so excited for all of them at once. I think it's going to look really cool. I think it's going to be there's a couple moments in Endgame where you're watching this over and over again. You're just that was really cool. That was neat. Oh, the Wasp is actually cool. Wow, look at what fucking Mantis is doing. That's neat. And I can't wait for that for these characters that I don't really like. And Captain America. It's so fucking cool now.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining those awesome.
And then Spider-Man, but nobody knows who he is.
They got some stuff to figure out with that. But I'm just imagining those awesome, those fucking super awesome,
Well, that's what
all
I'm
new,
saying.
all Avengers, Alex Ross covers where it's just like, and then Captain America, and then Doctor Strange, and then Vision, and we
I
got
think-
Miss Marvel like being big and weird, and
I think almost everybody tripped at the starting gun for Phase 4. I think they're all gonna come in strong for Phase 5, whether it's an appearance in something else, their own thing, what have you. I think I'm really gonna like the next edition of each character, wherever they fall.
yeah, no, that's what I think what I want to take away from Phase 4. It had some really, really infrequent and high like ups. Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, American Werewolf in London. What was that shit called? Werewolf by Night?
Yeah. Midnight, Werewolf by Midnight, I think.
No, I think
No?
it's Werewolf by Night.
Oh, okay.
And live action Captain Carter, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But then there was a lot of chaff. There was a lot of lows. There was a lot of mediocreness, and I think there was a lot of experimenting, and this was always going to be the experimental phase. We all knew that they were doing that with this, and I think that it didn't. Oh, She-Hulk, and it didn't always work out. I think that, and I think part of the main problem is there wasn't a lot of like building the next Thanos fight.
Yeah. Well,
and I
also
think
this phase, is this the first phase to end without an Avengers movie?
Yeah.
That's might also play a role in it, you know? Things haven't
Yeah, that's a good point.
culminated
That
yet.
was the
that was the end.
that was
it.
the moment for a while. It was one, and then there's Ultron, but then Ant-Man that came after that is technically, and then there's Endgame, and then Spider-Man Far From Home technically, but still, and now this one's just over, and it ended with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which wasn't a bad movie. It was just like it just seems like someone made a decision to flip a switch and be like, we're in Phase 5 now.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
whatever.
There was no conclusion. Each one of those phases has an arc and an end to the arc.
This one really didn't.
This one didn't.
This
It was
one
a lot of
seems-
introductions, but you almost wanted people to meet at the like you almost wanted this phase to close with, and then they met.
Dude, I have been waiting with bated breath for specifically for Shang-Chi to show up in something else. Cuz he's like, to me, he's the biggest newcomer of this phase. And I was just waiting for him to like, he shows up at the end of Moon Knight or something, and he has like way more knowledge or power than he did last time we saw him, or he like makes he's hanging out with Wong on She-Hulk or something like that. But it just hasn't happened. And I am really looking forward to Phase 5, because I think it's going to, I hope, and I think it's going to correct some of the narrative mishaps that Phase 4 had.
Yeah.
That no matter how much you like the individual movies, you can't deny Phase 4 had. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Our channel has daily uploads from podcast video essays, Let's Plays to skits.
Be sure to watch on Twitch. We stream all our video game and podcast content live at 5 EST every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Our intro is by Brad Kendrick and music by Froggy and the Friendship. Link to all that in the description below.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.